Season 16 of Overwatch is here, and the patch notes are incredibly extensive, mostly due to them explaining how the new game mode Stadium is going to work. That is a big part of the season, but that's going to be a separate video on its own and already been covered on my second channel, the KarQ Archives, where I went through all the blog articles as they explained it. And as I went through the patch notes today, most of their Stadium explanation has already been explained in all their blog articles in the previous week, so you can go watch it on that channel if you'd like. But for this video specifically, this is going to be focusing on the core game balance and changes pertaining to that. So here we go. Hero bans are the first thing that are entering competitive play, available at all ranks. In short, you choose 3 heroes that you'd like to ban in order of priority, and then a bunch of magic happens under the hood, a bunch of conditions, if statements, else statements, and logic will happen, and then you'll wind up with 2 bans for each team, 4 in total, where only 2 heroes can be banned per role, and there's no duplicate bans. If you want to read the full set of ban conditions that happen, you can pause right here and read it. Okay, moving on to the hero balance updates. For D.Va, her previous minor perks Bunny Stomp and Ejection Suit are combined now and called Bunny Power. So Eject now grants 75 temporary overhealth, and Call Mech's damage radius is increased by 50%. That means the new empty minor perk slot is filled in with extended boosters. Hitting an enemy with boosters will increase the duration of it by 0.5 seconds, so if you hit a clump, you can go on for much longer. For Hazard, his minor perk off the top is getting an increase to its leap slash damage from 30% to 50%. For Orisa, her augmented fusion driver is getting a damage increase from 13 to 14. For Fortify, now prevents Sombra's hack from interrupting any of her abilities. And for her minor perk Heat Dissipator, the amount of heat reduced per headshot has been increased by 33%. For REINHARDT, his Fiery Uptake minor perk is going to be removed and is now replaced with Crusader's Fire. This perk will allow you to refund a charge of Fire Strike when you stun an enemy, overfilling up to 3. For his major perk, Shield Slam, the distance is getting an increase by 50% to make this perk a little more appealing to take. For ROADHOG, his Hog Toss minor perk has been removed and replaced with a new minor perk called Pent Up. When Pigpen is triggered, refill 50% of his Take a Breather resource, which can overfill as well if you haven't used it yet. For his major perk, Hogdrogen Exposure, it's getting an increase in its radius from 8 meters to 10 meters. The old Sigma Levitation perk required you to press jump twice to start the levitation, but now you just press jump once and it'll do the whole thing. Also, if you do end up pressing jump twice, you go a little farther. For Winston, he's getting his base health increased from 225 to 275, but his base armor reduced from 250 to 200. Basically, he's getting 50 of his armor changed into base health as a nerf. The devs actually have some comments here. They said that with the introduction of perks, Winston has been overperforming. By adjusting his survivability, exchanging some of his armor for health, we aim to bring him in line with other tanks without significantly impacting his overall gameplay. For Wrecking Ball, his armor HP is being reduced from 150 to 100 in 6v6 game modes only. Interesting how they're actually doing a nerf specifically for that game mode. For Cassidy, his old minor perk, Past Noon, has been removed and replaced with Even the Odds. This new perk allows him to regenerate 20 health per second for each enemy targeted by Deadeye. FREJA is the new hero for Season 16, and she was playable for like a 3-day trial weekend about a month ago, and has received some buffs since that playtest state. So her time to earn her minor perks in general is going to be reduced by 18%. That's a nice buff to get her online a little bit earlier. For her weapon, Rev Draw Crossbow, the number of shots before her max spread is going to be increased from 8 to 12. For her ultimate, Bolus Shot, the damage and explosion radius is going to be increased from 5 to 5.5 meters, and the damage over time is going to be increased from 75 to 90. The devs comment that we received positive feedback during Freya's hero trial, and it's exciting to see how much you enjoy experimenting with her kit. However, we've noticed that Freya is struggling to keep up with other damage heroes, particularly in terms of lethality. So we're going to be adjusting the time it takes for her to earn her minor perk, bringing it in line with other heroes. Additionally, we're increasing the number of shots before her max spread kicks in, making her Rev Draw Crossbow more reliable at all ranges. Finally, when Freya's Bolus Shot was charging quickly, its effectiveness was somewhat lacking. We're boosting both its damage and radius slightly, ensuring it can better secure eliminations when it lands. For Hanzo, he's getting a buff outside of his perks. The Stormbow arrow draw progress is now preserved while wall climbing. That's how it used to be. For his Storm arrows, the projectile speed is also going to be increased from 110 to 140 meters per second. The devs comment that restoring the functionality of Hanzo's Stormbow to retain draw progress will enable him to use wall climb more effectively, improving his ability to take space and position himself. For JUNKRAT, his minor perk Aluminum Frame now also reveals trapped enemies to allies, in addition to being able to throw it 50% farther. For May, her minor perk Chilling Reach has been removed and replaced with her old major perk called Biting Cold, which also got a small buff as the secondary fire icicle slow has been increased from 15% to 20%. Now with that free major slot open, May's new major perk is called Deep Freeze. Continually hitting enemies with primary fire will freeze them for a short time. This is basically how old May was in Overwatch 1. For Sombra, her viral efficacy minor perk has been removed and replaced with Encrypted Upload. Hack can now be used while invisible, and successful hacks will increase the duration of stealth by 2 seconds. For her major perk, Stack Overflow, that's been removed and replaced with Viral Replication, where hitting a hacked enemy with virus will spread the virus to other enemies within 8 meters. For TORBJORN's major perk, Overloaded Turret, it now also allows you to upgrade your turret if Overload was activated before the turret was fully constructed, so a small, minor quality of life buff there. For Tracer's major perk, Flashback, it's getting a nerf finally for its amount of blink restored from 3 to 2 after recalling. And for her Quantum Entanglement major perk, it now additionally grants 20 over ammo to make it a little bit more appealing. For Ana, her minor perk Groggy, they're reducing the initial slow from 75% to 50%, but it now also deals 50 damage over its duration. The other minor perk, Biotic Bounce, is getting a nerf where the second bounce damage and healing is going to be reduced from 50 to 25. For Baptiste, in general, his Biotic Launcher secondary fire healing explosion is going to be increased from 50 to 60 heals. The direct impact healing is also going to be increased from 20 to 30, but the maximum ammo will be reduced from 13 to 10. For his major perk, Assault Burst, it will now additionally give you that instant healing like the normal regen burst, but it will not do the double critical heal on low targets. For Juno, her Hyper Boost minor perk has been removed. The Reboot's major perk has been moved to the minor perk slot, and now that empty major perk slot has been filled with a new perk called Locked On, where it will reduce the cooldown of pulsar torpedoes by 1.5 seconds for every enemy hit. For Lifeweaver, the Thorn Volley projectile speed is going to be increased from 80 to 100 meters per second. And for his major perk called Life Weaving, the bonus healing after the dash is going to be increased from 30 to 40. For Lucio's minor perk Groovin, that's been removed and been replaced with a new minor perk called Beat Drop, where Amp It Up is now active during his sound barrier, his ultimate. For Mercy, the Angelic Recovery minor perk has been removed and replaced with a new minor perk called Angelic Resurrection, and this allows Mercy to gain 100 over health after casting Resurrect. And for Mercy's major perk, Flash Heal, it wasn't initially in the patch notes, so I saw this like 20 minutes before I was about to upload this, but apparently it's no longer tied to Resurrect. It has its own cooldown now, and it does 50 healing, but 3x healing, so 150 healing to low HP allies. For ZENYATTA's minor perk, Ascendance, you can now hold jump to hover as well, similar to the Sigma one. And for his Duality major perk, they're increasing the converted damage to healing from 20% to 30%. Now for 6v6 game mode specifically, the Discord Orb duration before expiring when the target's out of line of sight is reduced from 3 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Alright, another patch news, again, Stadium is the brand new game mode they're releasing this season. It's a little too lengthy to cover in this video, but in short, you play a best of 7 round-based game where you can customize your hero with different powers and items and do some wild stuff like Flying Zarya, which is one of my personal favorites.
What is this range?
You can also play in first person or third person, and it comes with its own rank system, rank names, and new skin rewards for hitting certain ranks this season. I played it in the early play test. It's super fun. You should definitely give it a try to see if it's your vibe. Now for skins, this season has the Heart of Hope Juno hero skin as its mythic for the battle pass. There's also like a lot of Doki skins, a Gundam Wing collab, Iridescent Aspects, which is a new upgrade tier to razzle dazzle your mythic skins. And if you also want this legendary Symmetra Ice Princess skin, along with her spray and icon, come watch me on twitch.tv/KarQ as it's a Twitch drop exclusive. Now, streamer mode now has more options where you can actually hide your player icon, your name card, and even your player title to really stay anonymous if you want. And I think that about covers everything this patch. See ya.